But God said to Jonah, "Do you have good reason to be angry about the plant?" And he said, "I have good reason to be angry. I have reason even unto death." And the Lord said, "You had compassion on the plant for which you did not work, and which you did not cause to grow, which came up overnight and perished overnight. Should I not have compassion on Nineveh, a great city in which there are more than 120,000 persons who do not know the difference between their right and left hand, as well as many animals?" Powerful lesson.
Yes, sir.
God is loving. God is merciful. And He is compassionate. He wants us to come to Him. And He will give us every opportunity that is possible for us to accept His hand of grace, to accept His hand of mercy. But it's up to each and every one of us. And it's up to us to accept that. And to extend that grace and mercy towards other people and to have a positive influence.
Yes.
Because this is the story of Jonah. And we can read all kinds of other stories in this Bible. We can read about Abraham in Genesis. We can read about David in 1st and 2nd Samuel. We can read about Jesus and the apostles in the New Testament. But each and every one of us has a story too. And our story follows the same format. We have an inciting incident. We were born. The rising actions and the choices that you make to arrive at the conclusion that you want to arrive at. And so those are the choices that we're making every day of our lives. Those are the choices that you made yesterday and the day before that, 5 years ago. And those are the choices you're going to be making 5 years from now. And each choice builds off of the last. So if you make a bad choice today, the chances are you're going to make a bad choice tomorrow. Just like Jonah did. He made these bad choices leading up until the point that he was thrown into the sea. And guess what? It wasn't easy for him to turn right around after that. And so he continued making bad choices even after his powerful lesson. And that's the lesson to us. Don't make these bad decisions. Because once you start in the habit of making poor decisions, once you start having a habit of doing evil things and sinning against God, you're going to continue doing those things even after God's taught you His lesson. Until finally you arrive at a place where you're sitting out in the desert and the sun's beating down on you and you just wish you were dead. Because you cannot see anymore the loving kindness of God. You do not feel anymore that you want to be a part of it. And it can happen to any one of us. We always hear the climax of a story. If you ever hear about, for instance, a murderer, the person who murdered Rihanna Dennis a few years ago, we heard that he went and brutally assaulted her and murdered her. Horrible story. But in a way, that's the climax of the story. That's the part that we remember. What we don't remember is that that young man probably grew up in his life in a broken home. He probably grew up doing small misdemeanor sort of things when he was a child, and that moved on to bigger things as he was a grown-up, until finally he arrived at a place that he did not want to be at. Until finally he arrived at a place where he was so bad, where he was so wicked, that he was willing to go out and assault and kill a woman. Don't think it can't happen to you. The choices that you make today are shaping the rest of your future. Brother Harry Washington at Sierra Bible Camp said that in an awesome way. He said, the things that you think you're getting away with today are shaping your future. If you think that you can get away with a little sin today and go about the rest of your life tomorrow and not ever have to worry about it again, and it's just going to go away because it's in the past, you're wrong. It's a part of your story, and it becomes a part of your story. And unless you take corrective measures to pull yourself away from that sin, you're going to continue along that same path of sin until finally you arrive at a place that you wish you weren't at. Until finally you arrive at a place where you don't care about God's mercy, you don't care about His loving kindness. All you want is your own satisfaction. And then you'll be willing to do anything to get it. And so someday we're all going to arrive at the climax of our lives. And that comes with our death. We're going to arrive at our death, and it's going to be the result of all the things that we've done in this life. And then we're going to be facing our resolution. You've done everything, you had your inciting incident, you had your rising action, your climax with your death. And then you're going to arrive up at the pearly gates after your death, and you're going to face your resolution. And in that moment, God's going to tell you, Well done, good and faithful servant,
Amen.
or poorly done. And at that moment, you're going to realize what was important. You're going to realize that the most important part of your life, the most important part of your story, was not the climax. It wasn't the most memorable part. It's the most important part. The most important part of your story is today. You can't affect it. Today is the only day that we have any power over. Yesterday is past. Tomorrow is out of our control. But today is the day that we make decisions. Today is the day that you set the course that leads you through the rest of your life. So let's make those right decisions today.